opportunities and offers. So you can have a choice. Which is, you can have a choice even between the kitchens, meaning...
The Thai wife of the special effects guy
is an amazing cook.
Started cooking for us.
Because I'm vegetarian and she would make...
On V for Vendetta, and so it became just for us, and then she opened a little walk station.
And it would have a line.
The line would double, and she opened a catering business after that, and then we had like the German catering, which was all stews and schnitzel and all this heavy-duty German-style food.
Which is important for some people.
Yeah, no, it's we didn't do away with it, but then we had the option of having,
Thai
stir fry, and it was.
And I, of course, immediately took that idea over. And from now on, it's the rule. It has to be the rule.
It's our one disagreement. Who would get...
We did. That was our one fight. We were like, who's getting Siam?
Because we were shooting simultaneously. When they were doing Speed Racer in Berlin, I was doing the International. And I said, I want her! And of course, I mean, okay, you invented her in a way, so like, I couldn't really go.
Hands off.
But I think she came because we had 3 more weeks of overlap. I think she did the last 3 weeks.
Yeah,
it was insane because like 150 people were storming towards her the first day she appeared.
She's an incredible cook. But that was one way that we were able to change him and his like the sort of material way that you make a movie. But then we discovered this approach to making movies where you do the music in the beginning, which makes so much sense, but nobody does it. And we did it on this movie, and he's done it on all of his movies, and we were like, at first, like, you can't do that. That's against the rules. Nobody does it that way. And he's like, yeah, it worked. And then we listened to the music during the read-through of the cast, and the cast was like, and we're like, oh my God, how can you leave something so important in the making of a film to the end after you've done all of the design, all of the development, all of the aesthetic choices, then get to the end and
it becomes incredibly apparent when you start cutting with the music, and you're not cutting with music from other movies on your film. It's like it's like going into somebody's house and putting on their clothes. It's just something that's not right about it.
But it's nice to have Tom, I guess, doing it. You don't have to go to find John Williams somewhere and go through all that process.
We actually think we're going to invent this new job called post-production director. And we'll get to a certain point, we'll do all the visual effects, and then once we're done with the visual effects, we'll just turn the movie over to Tom. It's going to be a contractual thing. He'll do all the music, the sound, we'll just come in once in a while, check it out.
He's your second sign?
It's just fun because it's one of the testaments. Testaments? Do you say testimony, or it is testimony?
It's a testament to.
It's testament to. All the beautiful aspects of our relationship, our love and friendship and collaboration is that also on top of the fact that we feel like we are so in tune about so many things, and we have such an incredible amount of agreement in terms of aesthetic desires and interests, and yet a lot of stuff to talk about still within that even our particular strengths, they also matched up so unbelievably well, like incredibly well, stuff where they would say like, okay, yeah, that needs to be done too. I would say like, that's my favorite thing, and the other way around, where I feel like I don't know how do you actually do this? They're like, oh well, we know, we've done this before.
So how did you guys all first hook up? How did this all start?
We met on lonelydirectors.com.
It's this website where when you really are in tears about the insane loneliness.
Directing it's kind of lonely. I mean, luckily, we have each other, and so. But I look at poor directors who work all by themselves, and I think, oh my God, it's got to be one of the loneliest things you can do.
So how far back does it go?
It's
reloaded in
10 years.
It was 12. No, it's like
I think it's
90.
10 years.
So Heaven or
90,
Run Lola
2000. 2001. 2001.
We met while we were doing post for Reloaded and Revolutions, and we had been sending notes to each other via our agencies, and oh, do you like me? Check this box, yes or no. And he came out to L.A. Under the pretense that maybe he'd do some music for one of the cues in Revolutions. And
it was a good setup. I mean, there had to be some reason, because of course they were like monstrously working. And I was secretly also a bit curious about how do people, how do artists look, filmmakers, when they've had a 277 shooting schedule in one go, and then another, I don't know, 1.5 years of post. How much of humanity is left on those bodies and faces? And they were actually really pretty exhausted, and you could tell that. It was such a monumental, completely disproportional, absurd undertaking, the whole thing, and yet they were still there, and they were still at least alive and somewhat kicking. But also, I came in and I felt like there was like. An interest in this idea. Oh yes, right. We could have a nice chat with somebody who's really interested in stuff that we're interested in. Maybe we should go for dinner for a change. After 2 years of being locked into this space,
we were kind of like Nell in the beginning. We had forgotten language. It was like it was lost to us. And he walked in the door, and we were just kind of like.
And I was babbling away.
Subterranean spinning around.
Yeah, we were afraid we could only go in. We were Morlocks. We could only go in at night. It was like the sun burnt our flesh, and he said, "Yeah, let's go out for dinner," and we were like, "A date?" And then we just began to get a window, like that Somni window where she's looking out, and there's this sort of beautiful half light and the snowflakes, and we suddenly remembered that there was this whole other world, and there was a love for cinema and our art form that you kind of, I think anyone who goes through something so difficult, you become detached from that somewhat, and you're just like, you're so insulated by your experience, and it's so intense, and you're trying to make everything perfect, and you can't look up. And then suddenly he was like, look up, remember. And it was like we had such a great night, and it was invigorating, and it was nourishing.
And that was like the first director that we'd ever met, really. We had met guys, but you always meet them in passing. It's just like, maybe you're at an event, or you're walking by, you're at the studio, oh, there's that guy.
So is that the Chicago thing, or is that that you were not in town, or was that...
Probably a combination that we don't live in LA, and we're naturally very shy and private.
But it's also, if you don't look out for it, it doesn't happen easily. Because, usually we do work a lot. Then when we really go in public contexts, it's mostly professional. We have to, take care of the people that we're working with, or, we're with the actors, or with our production. And, you don't hang around in places where other directors hang around. It just is really rare.
Well, I guess film festivals are the one place where directors get to meet.
Well, but they get to meet going away from the stage where they just did a public announcement or like a press conference. You meet behind the stages of the press conferences, but you don't.
Telluride a little bit, but
I never went there. I don't know that. But
there should be a director's website.
It's not that
we need a support group.
It's not that
you should start it. We would all be there in a second.
It's obviously not in existence. I have a company with 2 other directors for 18 years now, and they're really friends. So it does exist, but even that came out of the same, desire, to not have a company just with people who run the business, but also with people who really share, the subjects that drive you to even want to have a company. And but even us, those directors that I have my company there with, like Wolfgang and Dani, they have also usually always been shooting, and then I have been shooting, and they have been shooting. So you always can visit each other, but it's not this kind of friendship. It's hard, and it's not a surprise that many of our friends in our real lives are very often. I mean, one of my best friends in my life is the cinematographer I work with because we get to spend so much time with each other. And so we realized after a while, because we were trying so hard to get some constant relationship going between us, that it won't work if we just don't ultimately find a film we can do together.
There was a profound energy, though, to the very first meeting, that first experience, that has always stayed with us. There was something we just felt, the way the movie suggests, that some people can come into your life and in the very moment that they're there, that somehow they're affecting you and changing your life. And sometimes it's really you fall in love and it's just bang. But then there was, we probably, if we hadn't have met him and started talking to him, we probably wouldn't have gone to Berlin for Vendetta. But because we were interested in having a relationship with him, and we had always had sort of Xanadu relationship or Mecca relationship with Babelsberg, where anyone who knows about cinema history knows it sort of is the origin point of the modern cinema studio world. We were like, oh, it's still there, it's still standing. It's we could go and actually shoot in the actual dust that is still there, that inhabited the dust that was Fritz Lang's motes and some of those incredible streaming beams of light that are in that in the art direction of that, or the cinematography of that movie, Metropolis. And because we wanted, we went there to sort of hang out with him, and then we went, and he left the very day. We landed on a plane, literally. This is literally the bad movie, right? Plane landing, plane taking off.
And I went
went
off
to
to
see
do
Perfume.
yeah.
And then we came back for Speed Racer, and we landed, and he took off to do the International.
Well, the sensibility makes sense. I mean, if you strip away the effects from your films, then Tom's sensibility really seems to be a good match.
Yeah,
we agree.
We felt the same. We felt very much. We look for similar things, even though we use different, approaches here and there. But we have a very profound interest in similar, both aesthetically but also content-wise. That, and it was just, I think the way we found each other was also that in the same month, at least in America, The Matrix and Run Loader Run opened, which were both films that very strongly used structural devices and unusual forms of storytelling in order to get to express something in the most exciting and also entertaining mode that was ultimately at its core a philosophical examination of human struggle in any kind of in
David Mitchell has this funny way of describing it. He said both of us, Tom and us, he says that there are people who try to make highbrow movies and people who try to make lowbrow movies. It's like both of you try to make monobrow movies or one-brow movies. One-brow movies that incorporate the best aspects of both.
Monobrows unite.
And then he sort of felt that's what we were trying to do with Cloud Atlas, which is what he tried to do with the novel.
So let's talk about religion for a second, because as I was watching Cloud Atlas, it really struck me.
Subject.
Huh?
Very casual subject.
Very casual light subject. But for me, that was particularly Matrix 2 and 3, and this film all seem to be connected in that way, and Heaven and other stuff that Tom has done. There definitely seems to be a very strong interest in making films about spirituality. There's all this other stuff going on that's visually powerful, but ultimately it always seems to come back to these issues of how people fit in their idea of spirituality and what is real and what is not.
Well, the question is rather whether we're not suggesting a strong direction there, in my opinion. We're really interested in the fact that there's which is more like a philosophical interest, actually, in in the amount of unanswered questions, in the amount of things we struggle with understanding ourselves and the nature of life. Once you put yourself in perspective to